I'm Kate with CrateInsider.com, and today I am here with Holli Henry. We're in San Diego, California, and I am so thrilled to meet her. This is the first day we've met in person. I'm so excited. She actually called me earlier this year looking for race car parts for her husband's race car, and we just clicked. And so we've been chatting online and all this. I mean, it's been several months. I don't know, like probably January or February, and this is the first time we've met in person. But I have to tell you, I seriously have the hugest girl crush on Holli. I really do. I mean, she's not just a pretty face. Now, she is a racer's wife, and she's not just any racer's wife. She's out there changing tires. She's amazing. She does things that I'm going to tell you, I don't change tires. I can understand it conceptually. I don't change tires. But she's also the trophy girl at Cocopah Speedway in Yuma, Arizona, correct? And also, she came to me, she said, hey Kate, I'm starting this new video program called Speedway 360.
Speedway 360, and I got to interview drivers that would come to the track, and I just wanted to document every story, get set up stuff, like 360 meaning full circle like the track, but also set up their teams, their sponsors, everything that it took to get to the track. I was really fortunate. I got to be the IMCA trophy girl for the Arizona Mod Tour, so I got to go to a lot of different tracks and see all my guys that came in from the Midwest. Some came in from Canada. I got to interview them, and it was a great success. Reached
yeah, go ahead and tell us your numbers. How many fans and how many views did you get?
It reached over 88,000 race fans and got over 1 million views in just 9 months. And Kate, who I'd called for race parts, and we talked for like 45 minutes. I felt like I was talking to like my long lost best friend. When I started the show, we'd been talking, and she's like, I really want to work with you. And then when Speedway 360 happened, she's like the first one that jumped on board. And she said, you know what, Holli, I love what you're doing. I'm going to support you. So she was my first sponsor on the show, and we've been friends and following each other's paths, and it's been really cool. But yes, Speedway 360 and all of our racing videos did really, really well. And for the first time in 25 years, that track actually broke even, which many people don't know this, but racetracks rarely break even. It takes a lot more to make the show happen than what people realize. So I was super fortunate to be a part of that, and I'm proud of it, and I would do it all again, and I will.
No, and it's exciting, and you're newer on the scene. I mean, you guys really started racing as a race team family, what, 2 years ago, I think, right?
When I came on board with Rolls-Royce Racing,
and you can go ahead and name drop your husband.
It's Royce Henry, out of the one Triple R. I kind of called his bluff. He took me to a race, and he's like telling me all about their setups and everything, and I was like, well, are you gonna race it, or are you just gonna talk about it? And I could see that little fire perk up in him. And then the next day, he put his car all back together. He won. We went out that weekend, and I was his pit crew for the first time ever. I was changing tires and bringing whatever I could, to help him. It was just me and Royce, and the girls didn't come to that race, but
and not everybody knows she's got 2 twin girls,
6-year-old twin girls, and we went out that race. It was my first time ever, and we won. And we raced together as a team every weekend since then. So it's been a few years now. We've done 2 Arizona Mod Tours, done a couple hundred races, but it's been awesome. And like I was telling you earlier, I wasn't afraid to get in there and use whatever skill set I naturally had, and then he taught me a lot, and we just worked together. And then the girls help wipe the car down, and they're involved, and they're on their little quads and everything now, so they understand how everything's starting to work, which is really, really cool to watch. So,
well, I find it exciting. I grew up in racing. My dad was a race car driver, so I understand. I love the family aspect, and it's something that we still share to this day in my family. We have that racing connection, and I just love that. But there's also one more thing, is Holli is amazing when it comes to looking for sponsorship for her husband's car. And she is also fantastic at taking care of sponsors. I can speak from the standpoint of having been a sponsor. No one has ever taken care of me like you have. And as making sure, because it's all about making sure there's visibility, that type of thing. But she went one extra step that I have never seen anyone else do. Here she is, racer's wife, has a husband who's racing. You're trying to support your own program, but she went out there to get track sponsorship. I want to hear more about that.
Yeah, so when I got onto the scene, and I realized, the better the track does, not only does it benefit my program, but it benefits all of us. And maybe I don't get noticed by a sponsor, or our team doesn't get noticed by a sponsor, but the guy, a couple trailers down might. But him getting that sponsor also leads to more national sponsors wanting to be a part of it, because they're like, oh, there's great exposure. That track is well covered. I'm going to get a return on investment. Return on investment is huge. Our local sponsors are such a big part of what we do, but also national sponsors. And your national sponsors aren't, they'd like their posters and their stuff up at the track, but right now it's about social media coverage. And a national sponsor is going to benefit. Unfortunately, they can't be at every race, so a season ticket or whatever package your track might be offering isn't necessarily going to be geared towards them. They're looking for more return on investment. They're looking for social media coverage. What can you bring to the table? So I sat back and I thought about, my good buddy Mark Norris, who you were talking with earlier, and Cajon Speedway, and they had the Trophy Girls, and my idol Linda Vaughn, and I'm like, how did these ladies make such an impact at that time? And then how can I, take that to the modern times? And I like, okay, it's so obvious. There's Monster Girls at NASCAR. There's Rockstar Girls and all this stuff. So I started taping all the winners' interviews so they could thank their sponsors, and it would be on TV, on media, which is huge because the sponsors really want to share that win, and they're so happy for the cars that they're invested in, but there's no way really for that message to get out to anybody else except the people in the stands. So I started taping the drivers' interviews, and one driver's interview, and this is just fun fact, I'm not even in it, it's just me taping the driver's interview.
With your iPhone?
With my iPhone. Anybody can do it. Yep. Anybody can do it. 7,000 views for third place. 15,000 views for first place because the sponsor shared it, the wife shared it, grandma, the kids, everybody shared it. And then not only did that car get more coverage and was able to reach more sponsors, but they were also able to reach their fan base and so on and so forth, and it grows for everybody. So my whole goal was, how can I use whatever I've got to get national sponsors to tracks? And that's why, luckily we knew each other, but I went out on a limb, and I'm 36 years old. I'm the mother of twins. I've got a successful business with my husband. I've got my own race team. I've got a lot going on, but I thought there's got to be a way where we can get more to happen, to get more momentum. And I went out there and I did the Trophy Girl thing, and I did my racing interview show, which was cool. It got national sponsors interested and involved, and they necessarily might not have ever even noticed that track or noticed me or noticed the race, our race team or anybody's race team, had I not just put it out there. And it's literally just put it out there in a professional, positive way, and you can really help grow not only your track, your operation, and you can help out a manufacturer for racing products. It's about working together and using whatever you've got to take it to the next level.
Yeah, and I'm sure some people would look and say, "Oh, well, you've got everything. I mean, you're blonde and you're thin. You look like a model." And then you're saying, and here I'm standing next to her.
No.
And now she really looks like a model. But so like for your more average person, that is maybe intimidated by that, what advice would you have to give?
And you and I talked about this, and Royce and I have talked about this a bunch. When I first came onto the program, okay, I can change a tire. Okay, I understand, PSI, and I understand lug nuts and the basic stuff, but I listened and I watched and I learned, and he taught me a lot. And now I can tell you about shock valving and linear and digressive and bird cages and J-bars and brake floater mounts, all this fun stuff. But that's what led me to talk to drivers. But that being said, I've got a thirst for knowledge. I love to learn. That's just something that I wanted to do. But every single person, racing's a family thing. Every single person at that track, if your wife likes it or not, or if your son likes it or not, they have something already that they're good at that can apply to racing. Maybe you like to make scrapbooks, or maybe you like to post on Instagram. You can use that to further your team. build a brand. Now people, when they see checkers, they think Holli Henry. You know, it's building a brand. It's taking something that's specific to your family or specific to you and using that as a positive. And you can build a brand. And that kind of leads us to, you know, how to get sponsors is, you know, sure, people can be like, oh, well, you're blonde or you're this or you're that. And it's like, okay, well, your wife might bake the most amazing cookies you've ever tasted. She can do that and have that at the pits. And I guarantee you, your fans, they'll come. And when they come after the race, they will come to your pit every race. And they might just like you because of your wife's cookies. There are ways to be involved. And it always starts small. For me, like I said, it was just changing tires. And I'm like, there's a gap here. There's a niche here. There's something that I already naturally have that I can bring to this. And it's also, Royce didn't balk at it or stop me. He allowed me to grow upon that. So I think it's, if you are going to be a family in racing, it's really looking at each other's strengths and weaknesses and figuring out how you can make that a unit. And that's how a racing family works, and that's how everybody can be involved and everyone can go to the track together, and you can build your operation further than you probably ever thought. You know, now we're at a point where we are doing mod tours, and he's like, okay, no, let's back down a little bit. I'm like, well, we made it this far, like, let's keep going, and it can really grow. But yes, each member, figure out what you're good at and use that to your racing operation. You'd be surprised what could apply.
Well, and I would say too, a message that you and I have talked about, so I'm just going to go ahead and share this with everyone, is that, because obviously I'm not like supermodel either, but,
No.
but you know what, it's not about me.
Yeah.
It's yes,
not about
of course
me,
you want sponsorship for your car, but when you approach a sponsor, it's not about you, it's not about me,
No.
it's about them, and it's
Yeah.
about serving their needs and what they're looking for. If you can put them together with an opportunity where they can sell more, get more exposure, whatever it is that they're looking for, that's the most important thing. So take yourself, your ego, a little bit out of the equation, I would say.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Is what we can look at there.
Yeah.
And I loved your scrapbooking reference, because I'm going to do a close-up on this, but you guys should see this. This was her sponsorship package where she has family photos in here and
Our
like a
schedule,
schedule, which is
yeah.
very important to
My
know.
daughter took that one.
Oh my God, and that's adorable. And I
Yeah.
know a lot of these are taken with your iPhone.
Yes.
So
our
most
phone-
of these are taken with your iPhone. So it can look intimidating, but go ahead and tell us the little secret sauce here.
I made
And how you know about it.
I made my baby scrapbook for my daughters on Mixbook, and it was super cheap and easy. And I made them for when we went to PRI, and I made them for Royce and our racing operation. And I made a whole stack of them. It was super inexpensive. I just literally downloaded and clicked photos in there, arranged them, put some checkers behind it, and I went to each booth in PRI and I talked to them. I also did Pete Liebig. He's a local photographer of ours. He's great. Daniel did some great photos for us. I reached out to my local racing photographers that also need support and return on investment. I reached out to those guys and I set up a couple photo shoots that captured who we are as a race team. So with one image, you automatically know we're family, we're racing, this is what we do. And I put together the book, and they're tagged in there and their links and everything. And then I just took it to PRI and showed them. So then that sponsor automatically has an opportunity to see what we do, what we're about, if they want to get involved or not, if it fits their brand. And then some of the brands it aligns well and they came on board. You know, everybody's got a brand that would suit them perfectly if they really just went out on a limb. True Form wheel covers.
See, look,
yeah.
see, I'm just telling you, like, she's all about her sponsors
True
right
Form
here.
wheel covers. I wasn't happy with the
Available at CrateInsider.com.
Yes, they're great, and you're gonna get any kind of color you want. There wasn't a wheel cover that I was like super stoked on, and he's like, well, try mine. And he sent me some, and I love them, and we use them every race. Penske Racing Shocks, that one took me almost a year, but I didn't give up. I was persistent. I kept sending them updates. I kept showing them my media coverage, what I was posting, what I was doing. My page and our racing page, you know, it's marketing. You have to put out something that's something that a business and a brand would want to align with when you build your brand. So make sure it's consistent. But yeah, don't give up, and it took me a year. But if you keep at it and you keep showing them what the return's going to be, and then that's when I got inspired to say, okay, so this worked for me on the car. How can I translate this into tracks? What kind of coverage and return can I get in a bigger scale, so that these sponsors might want to align with other drivers, that our track can get money, that our track can get coverage. And then that's when the Speedway 360 thing happened, and I did a couple videos for the track. They did really well, and they're like, wait a second, let's just ball all this together. And it worked out really well. Like I said, it got a lot of views, reached a lot of racing fans, and the track actually did really well that year. So we're proud of that. So you can do anything.
I'm totally thrilled for you. And, because we have a very similar story. Like the Answers video, just going to throw that out there.
Yeah.
It's the Answers video. But you've accomplished so much. I'd love to hear what is your big dream moving forward?
Well, my original dream was just to see how far I could help him get this, because when he took me to the first race, it was him talking about the race and the spring setup, and he's running to this and to that and to that, and something hit me, and I'm like, well, why aren't you running right now? Like, what's stopping you? So my original was just to see how far we could take this thing. And then now, the further I've gotten into it, I look at people like Linda Vaughn, or there's so many racing ambassadors and so many people that, that she's still out there doing it, which is insane.
And she's amazing.
Yeah, and incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like, now the times have changed a little bit, but it's this beautiful lady out there that's really just hitting the pavement and getting the word of racing out there. She's not stopping. She was the Hearst shifter girl, and she had that. So she had her products and her sponsors that she really supported, and she helped bring that to the nation. And she's not done yet. But I think my main goal is, if anything, I want women in racing to know you can be a driver. Like Kelsey Foley, a good friend of mine, she's a badass modified driver, and I love that. For me, I'm a mom with small kids, and I'm running a business, and we've got one car on the track. For us, logistically, to get another car on the track, it's not going to happen. So I found my niche in what I could bring and how I could help. So I encourage all women to really look at racing. Maybe you want to be a driver, and I think that's awesome. I think that's a great path. Maybe your dad raced, and you're going to follow in his footsteps. Your mom raced, but really just take a step back and see what natural talents or skills you have. Maybe it's scrapbooking baby books, and that translates into making
sponsorship books.
Sponsorship books. But don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to get in there and try it. And just, if you are, watch for a couple races and pick up what you can, and then get in there. You can always, help out in some way. Sitting in a chair on your phone, even if you're just there for support, for some, that's huge. But get in there, and you'd be surprised how much you actually like it and how far you could take something if you just try.
Well, and I'd love for you to share your husband's big dream for you, where he thinks you should be. We're going to put this out there.
He always wants me to go do pit interviews for NASCAR. He's like, you're great at this. And, I did marketing and taught master classes for MAC Cosmetics, so I'm used to being in front of people. It doesn't scare me at all, but it's funny how he's always like, I want you to go as far as you can, and you'd be so awesome at this, because you have the looks and the brains, and about cars, and it'd be such an added benefit to them. So you never know. I would absolutely do it. I love interviewing drivers. I love being in the pits, even though it's stressful and you're like, oh my God. I love doing it, and at the end of the race, it feels really good to see what you accomplished as a team. So.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time with me.
Thank you for coming out here.
I'm so thrilled to finally meet my girl crush here with Holli Henry.
My girl crush too.
And thank you so much for watching. Check out more of our videos on our website, on our channel. Of course, our website is CrateInsider.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.